Sometimes you just got a wife of boogers.
Sometimes you do. Hey, it's Megan.
And Sue in the restricted section.
And today we are going to be doing Josh's muffin tag.
Yes, and this was created by Josh from Literary Gladiators.
Gladiators.
And it's one of his foodie book tags.
Yes.
And we were tagged by Josh. Thank you, Josh, for tagging us. Sorry we're kind of late doing it.
we get to these things in time. While we do it, we're going to be drinking this blueberry blonde.
Because when you think muffins, at least when I think muffins,
think about blueberry.
Blueberries.
Yeah. Whenever I think muffins, I think about the Lady Gaga song.
I think of the muffin lady. The same guy. This was like pre-YouTube. The same guy that did the Kelly videos.
With like the glass muffins.
Shoes.
Yeah.
He did like a sketch where he was an old lady talking about muffins. And he started off normal, like blueberry, strawberry, and then it turned weird, like cigarettes, blood. Anybody remember that?
I recall.
But let's try this.
Let's try this blueberry blonde.
From Big Muddy Brewing, 6% alcohol by volume.
It smells very blueberry. That's a weird flavor.
Not a fan. That's not terrible, but
that's a strange flavor.
Don't care for it. Yeah, I don't like that. It's not the worst, but it has like a really bitter, gross aftertaste.
Ugh, makes me shivery. Okay.
Yeah, like it tastes good at first, and then it tastes bad.
And it smells bad.
I don't think it smells that bad.
It smells weird.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's not very good.
The first drink was not bad. The second drink was terrible.
I'll probably drink it, but I don't. But I'm not.
I'm gonna try really hard, but I'm not gonna like it. But I'm gonna try really hard.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So the first question in the muffin tag is blueberry.
Blueberry.
If someone said literature, who is the first writer that comes to mind? They don't necessarily have to say it like that.
Literature.
Literature.
Oddly enough, the first author who came to mind for me was Walt Whitman. I cannot fucking stand Walt Whitman. I hate Walt Whitman's writing. It's like, I don't like it. It's pretentious. Interestingly enough, I also don't like blueberries.
Really?
I only like them if they're in pancakes.
I didn't used to like blueberries, but I like them now. I used to hate them, and now I'm fine with them. So not in beer though. Not apparently. This beer is blueberry pancake beer we had.
That was really fucking good. That was delicious.
But this and also the Jam Up, the blueberry. Is it called Jam Up? No, it was like blueberry something from.
I thought it was Jam Up.
It might have been from Tallgrass Brewing. I didn't like that either. It was sour though.
It was very tart.
And I said Shakespeare, which I feel like is probably an answer a lot of people would give
that
for
makes
this.
sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Shakespeare.
Literature.
Literature. You can't beat it. Good old Bill.
Good old Billy Shakespeare.
Billy Shakespeare.
Wrote a whole bunch of sonnets. Anybody know what song I'm quoting?
Can anyone guess? So the second question is English, which is a work of British literature that became easier to understand when discussed.
And speaking of Shakespeare, I said Hamlet. Because I read this in high school, and I think that if we hadn't discussed it in class, I probably would have been pretty lost about what was going on. Yeah.
I said Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Frankenstein. Because I feel like everyone who reads this gets a little something different from it.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
I think that you gain further understanding as you discuss it.
I agree with that. Question 3, Corn. A book that is great to take on the go and read at any time.
I chose Difficult Women by Roxane Gay because it's a book of short stories, and so it's easy to kind of stop and start as you can. Also, it's fun to explain why you're reading a book called Difficult Women in public.
Yeah. I went a little bit different direction. I thought if you're on the go, you're probably in public, and if you're like me, you don't want to be fucked with when you're in public.
Fair.
So I chose Necronomicon because if you're reading this in public, people will probably be afraid of you, and
they'll leave you alone.
And then they won't bother you.
They're not gonna. No. It's
So,
like,
yeah.
that bitch is crazy. I'm gonna leave her alone.
She worships Satan.
She loves Satan. Thank
People
you.
probably
Thank
think,
you, Satan.
People, I think that about me a lot of time anyway.
Have you seen that Kids in the Hall sketch where the guy is a shoe salesman? And this guy comes in and like they have this really weird exchange about shoes, and the guy decides to buy a pair from the salesman, and the salesman's like, I sell shoes, and then like it flashes to Satan in hell, and he's like, and so you always shall, and the guy's like, thank you, Satan. It's so weird.
So I have to look that up.
I always want to go, thank you, Satan, because it's funny. So anyway, maybe I'll link that video down below so you can check it out.
Maybe we'll link the Muffins Lady video too.
Down below also,
so
you can check that out.
I'm sure it's still on YouTube somewhere.
Okay, so next is Chocolate Chip, a writer you feel was or has been able to write during all aspects of their lives.
And I said Isaac Asimov because dude was prolific.
He was quite prolific.
So I think I read that he started writing when he was 11. I think his first book was published, or maybe it was a collection of short stories. I don't remember for certain. I was reading up about him earlier. But I think it was published when he was like 19, and he published like 500 books.
Damn.
And then, you know, other short writings as well. Writings? Is that a thing people say?
Works.
So yeah, he wrote a fucking lot. So I think he just wrote his whole life
His
from
whole
11
goddamn life.
until he died.
Onward. I just said Octavia Butler because I feel like she wrote consistently, brilliantly throughout her career, and also I'm kind of hoping that she died in 2006, but like maybe...
You're hoping that she faked her own death.
Yeah, or maybe she's like chilling with Elvis on Mars or something. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, so I'm hoping
Maybe
that
she's cryogenically frozen on a spaceship.
and 200 years from now, we will be blessed again with Queen Octavia's writings. I don't know. I can't say. But yeah, so Octavia Butler for me.
Question 5 is Oatmeal Raisin, a bookish trait you feel is just not necessary. Josh, not a fan of Oatmeal Raisin.
Apparently doesn't like them. I'm going to go with dust jackets because they get in my way when I'm trying to read and think it's slippy. Mm-hmm. And that slippiness bothers me.
Yeah, I would just take them off.
I take them off.
Put them back on when I'm done.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I throw them away. It depends.
I would not throw a dust jacket away.
I have a book right now.
That's
dust
just
jacket
crazy talk.
I have a George R.R. Martin. I can see it from where I'm at. I threw that dust jacket away. Threw it away. It's gone. Bye.
Maybe we should pick it up before a dog gets it.
They're outside.
Oh.
But
I think it was a chew toy.
like, ooh, I
This
want
is
to eat
what
that.
happens. What, can you see it?
There, yeah. That's my magic wand.
It's a
Rave
rave
wand.
up in here.
Rave. We don't know how to rave. We're too old.
Yeah, no. I went to a rave once.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never been to
It was
a rave.
in a warehouse.
That makes sense from what I hear about raves. Yeah, I've never been.
I saw some dudes I went to high school with were there, and they were selling ecstasy. And they were wearing lab coats. I'm like, you might as well just like when the cops show up be like,
Please arrest
hey,
me.
please arrest me.
Arrest
Yeah.
this one right here.
What's next? Oh, me.
Yours is yes.
So I said stiff paperbacks because like what's the point in being a paperback if you're still going to be uncomfortable to read?
Right.
Like
Why
I
are
need
you
a
doing
floppy
this?
paperback.
Right. Or nothing.
Or I'm going to crack the shit out of that spine.
I will break a motherfucking spine.
You better watch out.
They call me the spine breaker.
That's what we should name our channel. The Spine Breakers.
Spine breakers.
Anybody else thinking of starting a YouTube channel, booktube channel?
Spine breaker.
Feel free to take the name Spine Breakers.
You're welcome. Next is Bran. What kind of reading material do you find you constantly force yourself through?
I don't think there's any like particular genre that I always force myself through, because if I don't like a particular genre, I'm probably not going to read it that often. But I said just like books with boring, unlikable characters, because there's definitely been several books that I've, for whatever reason, I should have just DNF'd them, but I forced myself to finish them. A couple that come to mind would be like The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. I found the main character in that book to just be so dull and unlikable. Like, unlikable characters are fine if they're interesting.
Right, but
when they're both unlikable and boring as shit, I'm just like, no. And the same with like The Heart Does Not Grow Back by Fred Venturini. The characters in that book were just like,
just kind of like,
do not give a shit about these characters. So that's what I said.
I said like autobiographies and biographies because I want to like them. And there are some like historical figures or like celebrities that like I really would like to read about them. But I find that like when I try to read autobiographies or biographies that like I get really slogged down in the dates and the details. I don't care what happened in 1957 on the 3rd of June. I don't care. Give me a synopsis. And so like I get really bogged down with like all of those details. Like I've been trying to read this Nikola Tesla autobiography or whatever, or biography.
For 2 years.
Yeah, and I just can't because it's so many like dates and places and details, and I'm just like I don't care.
Don't give a fuck.
I'm losing the plot here, friends.
All right. Question 7. Cranberry-Orange. Which 2 characters from different works would you like to see in one?
I said Offred from The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood and Lilith Iapo from Lilith's Brood by Octavia Butler, because I think that they're both strong women in different ways, and I think they're from completely different universes. Universi.
I think that's right.
Universi.
Versailles.
Versailles. So I would just like to see them like have a conversation and talk about their experiences and see them maybe work together to solve something, because I think it would be really, really fascinating.
And I said for this question, Frankenstein's Monster from Frankenstein by Mary Shelley.
Frankenstein.
And Syssix from The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, because I think Syssix would just like welcome him with open arms and accept him and love him, and he would finally get
what he needs.
Get that acceptance.
Yeah, that affirmation.
Yeah.
Because Syssix is very warm and welcoming.
Yeah. So, yeah, I want to see a happy ending for Frankenstein's monster.
Because it's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. His creator's a dick.
His creator sucks, man. Like, fuck that guy. Alright, so...
And society is a dick.
Society is a dick. So Coffee Cake. If you could see any poet, dead or alive, recite poetry at your cafe, which one would it be?
And I said Gwendolyn Brooks. I'm not like super well versed
poetry.
I'm not super well versed in poetry, but
Pardon.
But she's probably my favorite poet, and just I would love to hear her read poetry, because I feel like her poetry has like I didn't appreciate it as much until I heard like recordings of her reading it, because she reads it in like a rhythm that I didn't get myself when I was reading it to myself, and it just like enhanced it so much, because like I love, like I've realized that like when it comes to poetry and music as well, like it's really more like the rhythm that I enjoy,
because you can feel it.
Yeah,
like you can
more so than the words. But I mean the words, you know, she's a great writer as well. Like the words to her poems are really impactful as well. So yeah. I would love to have been able to see her
read them.
Yeah.
I said Maya Angelou because I think she's a very powerful woman, and I think that her poetry is really powerful and impactful, and I think that it would be really cool. I think she recently passed away, didn't she?
I think
like
so.
It wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, maybe a year or two?
That sounds right. Yeah. But I think it would have just been amazing to... Because I think her poetry carried a lot of wisdom, and she just always struck me as a very wise like powerful woman, and I think that would have been awesome to see in person. So.
And question 9 is Cruffin, which is a croissant-muffin. A great short work of French literature.
I honestly don't really have an answer for this because I haven't read any short French works.
Well, you should read my answer, which is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. There was my French accent.
Exupéry.
I haven't read this in a very long time, so I need to reread it, but I loved it at the time that I read it. It's a great little, tiny, short, little book.
Tiny short. It's a very cute, cute little book.
It's a very cute little book. I don't know what accent that was.
Kind of sounded almost a little Russian-y.
Maybe.
A little book.
Yeah, but it's been probably since I was like 13 or 14 since I read this. I picked this up at a used bookstore like a year ago or so.
That's a nice little copy.
Yeah, that was cute.
He's cute.
He's so cute.
He's cute. Okay, so next is Muffin Top, a work that would be better abridged.
This video.
This video.
I said The Alienist by Caleb Carr, which we recently read. It was just, for me, it was too long.
So tedious.
About halfway through it, I was like, I really want this to be over. And
so who's the killer so we can be done with this?
And there was still like 300 pages left, and I was like, wow!
God damn it! I said A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara because I felt like the writing in that book was good. But Jesus fuck, it was torture porn.
That one was 200 or 300 pages too long as well.
Yeah, I think it could have been half the length and accomplished what it set out to accomplish because it was just way too fucking much.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Alright, question 11 is what's your favorite muffin?
Either like apple cinnamon or pumpkin.
I have a very specific muffin.
Okay, I'm ready.
At probably any grocery store. You can get these like 3-packs of these big ass double chocolate muffins.
Okay.
Like a chocolate muffin with chocolate chips in them. And they're just cake, really. They're just cake.
But it's good cake.
But they're so delicious. And me and my sister used to like beg my mom to get them for us when we were kids. So they're like a nostalgic treat for me because she would only let us get them like every once in a great while. We'd be like, yes! Muffins! But I think they're really good. But maybe I just have that like nostalgia connection to them. They might actually be terrible. And I don't remember what brand they are or anything, but it's just like
I feel like I actually looked for them. Double chocolate.
Yeah, I actually looked for them today when I was in Walmart getting ingredients for those Bailey's brownies I made, and I didn't see them. So I was like,
bummer.
Damn it. Maybe I don't have them anymore. But
so last question is, let's go to Drury Lane. Who do you tag?
And we picked 3 people to tag.
Trey.
And the first person is Beck's Books.
Das. And the second person is Janelle from All the World's a Page.
And thirdly, we pick Jessie Trafton.
Yes.
Because we were trying to encourage her to make another video.
We like to see your face.
Motion I made.
Just
like Chris Farley there for a second.
In a van,
living
down by the river.
Down by the river. I was thinking like, so I don't own a toothbrush or let my sores heal.
I scare children. Yeah, so Jessie, you know.
Yeah. Show us your Chris Farley impression.
I'm sure it's good. Let's see it.
So this beer, the more I drink it, the less I mind it. It's still not good or something that I would ever buy again.
It's not good, but it's tolerable.
It's not the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth.
That's fair. I'm going to go with it's tolerable.
Yeah. And it's the Blueberry Blonde from Big Muddy Brewing, which is in Murfreesboro.
Murphy. It's from your city.
Murfreesboro, Illinois.
And I mean, the lady on the front's very pretty.
I like her blueberry locks.
Yeah, there's a pretty lady on the front. That's nice. But yeah, this beer is tolerable.
It's mediocre at best.
Yeah. So, you know.
So that's it. There'll be some links below where you can find us other places on the internet.
If you're not already subscribed to the restricted section, you should do it.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.